All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to 1 Million Cups Chico chapter live in the downtown studios at Chicostart. We want to welcome you and thank you for spending some time and showing up today and being part of 1 Million Cups. It's very much appreciated. 1 Million Cups is a weekly platform that's going on across the United States at over 150 other locations, and it's a front door to your local ecosystem on how to become an entrepreneur, how to become a small business owner, how to start your business, how to talk to other like-minded people in the community that either have a business, have had a business, are working in the community, and have ideas. So it's a place to collaborate about your ideas and share your unique ideas and your dreams to start that small business, especially right now in the time of our pandemic. Small businesses are closing left and right. And now is the time, as we come out of it, to start your own business and find a way to create a job for yourself and hopefully others in your community that help better your life and their lives. So hopefully you share this with someone else, your crazy cousin Bob next door, your crazy Uncle Bob, your crazy friend, sisters, uncles, second cousin that has the ideas every week. So have him show up because we are all just like cousin crazy Bob. So across the United States, it's happening right now, and it's being put on by the Kauffman Foundation. They're a nonprofit entrepreneurial organization that's been around for over 20 years. And they've been helping business people, entrepreneurs, and even the military, and just all kinds of people with business classes, courses, how to get your business going. But they realized they had to reach out to the small person, the individual, not the corporations as much, and show them there is a community out there that's supportive and helpful. So that's where 1 Million Cups came about, is to reach out locally to introduce the ecosystem to other people and let them know that there are resources out there and there are other people like you that have these ideas, and there's a place to turn to and people to talk to and collaborate with. So it's 1 Million Cups because it's the collaborative cups of coffee that we're all drinking this morning to get us motivated to get out of bed, have that cup of coffee going. The one when you get to work, the one right before lunch, the one after lunch, the one in the afternoon, the one when you get home when you're working on that project or you're helping your kids with the homework. So it's the cumulative 1 million cups every day that it takes to keep going. So that's what 1 Million Cups is about. And we want to thank the Kauffman Foundation for helping support all the different chapters across the United States with their resources and their time and their money. It's very, very appreciated. And it's one of my favorite things to do every week. So I want to also say thank you to our organizers. I'm one of them. We have Wendy Porter with Community Colleges, Butte College. We have Eva Shepard here with Chicostart. And we also have Jackie McLean with SCORE, but she's not here today. She's quite busy with her SCORE classes and working with SBA. We also have to say thank you to our sponsors. We have Kent Hastings, who's here today. He helps us out when we are out in the field and does our audio video, sets it up, records it, puts it all together, and gives us a nice package so we can put online on YouTube and share all these great stories. But since we're doing it virtually, I get that chore, and I have to say it's very much appreciated when you do it, Kent. We also have to say thank you to we have a new sponsor, Butte College, helping us now with some office space here for some students to come in and have a place to work and jump into the startup world. And hopefully we can help start a few businesses out of here with the help of Butte College. So thank you very much. We also have Explore Butte County.
Hold on. They are also a sponsor of 1 Million Cups, not just the office space.
Oh, yes, 1 Million Cups. We also have Explore Butte County, who has jumped on board because creating jobs and bringing people to Butte County is important, and it helps our economy and our community. We have Build.com very graciously helping support 1 Million Cups and Chicostart with an awesome donation to help provide office space for more businesses to come in here and start their businesses. And Chicostart for putting this on every week and putting the resources and the time to share this event with the community. And with that, we have a special guest today. We have Justin. How do you say your last name?
Iiams, just like the dog food, but with an extra I.
Justin Iiams with Onetouch Networks, which he has been a Chicostart member and has had an office space here. But during the pandemic and the COVID, they have had to work remotely. And he's in his new office and his new work surroundings. He just moved, so congratulations on that move. He's with Onetouch Networks, and they do a multitude of items right now, especially getting people online and virtual. So he's going to talk about Onetouch Networks, what they do, how long they've been in business, and the floor is yours. You got 6 minutes, Mr. Justin. Let's see if we can share your screen.
All right. Let's see here. Around. Go figure out.
Sit still. I was watching a video the other day. I'm a fidgety little guy.
There we go.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks, Tim. Wendy, Eva, miss seeing you guys. I'm ready for the pandemic to be over and done with so I can come back in the office and collaborate with you guys and talk about business and the world. So I definitely miss seeing you guys and gals and doing business and hustling together. So someday soon we'll be able to share coffee and drinks after a hard day's worth of work together. I'm looking forward to that. So without further ado, here we go. So Onetouch Networks, and pretty much who we are. We are an agnostic solution provider for the following industries. We work with internet providers. We work with cloud phone systems. We work with unified communications. So that's voice, video, chat, SMS, video conferencing like we're doing right now, and contact center unified communication. So we work with companies both small and large, companies as large as 4,000 or 5,000 employees, all the way down to mom and pop businesses that just have 1 or 2 phone lines. These are some of the vendors that we work with the majority of the time, but we also work with the majority of them. So Comcast and AT&T, Ring Central and 8x8 for cloud phone systems, and unified communications, Microsoft Teams and Zoom for video conferencing, and companies like Dialpad and TalkDesk for unified communications. And so one of the things that Onetouch Networks helps IT managers out with, which is time. So as a business, you've got 2 options as an IT manager when you are looking to add something to your tech stack. You can either waste 90 hours or roughly $3,800 in wages. That's discovery calls, that's doing research, that's doing demonstrations, that's doing negotiations and planning and implementations and training. Or with Onetouch Networks, we take it from 90 hours and we essentially take it down to 3.5 hours, and we do all the heavy lifting for you. So instead of the IT manager, the IT director having to spend roughly 10 hours researching online for a cloud-based phone system or an internet service provider, we already have that industry knowledge. So we're already taking 10 hours off your plate. Second off is most cloud-based, most SaaS organizations, they want to do a discovery call that lasts anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour. Most companies want to have between 3 and 5 discovery calls, or options, I guess is the best way to put it. We do a 30-minute discovery call, which saves you on average about 4.5 hours worth of time. From there, after the discovery call, we determine which companies are a good fit for you, and we make typically between 2 and 3 recommendations. So instead of spending 5 or 6 hours in discovery calls, or as much as 8 hours in discovery calls, we're able to drop it down to about 3 hours total for discovery calls. Beyond that, after the discovery call, we set up the demonstrations, and we help the companies determine which is the best fit for them. And then after that, we help out with negotiations. So because we work with all of the major providers and even some of the niche providers, if a company that we're working with has, say, 3 contenders, instead of them having to go back to the sales rep that they're working with and getting a proposal and then saying, well, this company got it down to this price and this company got it down to that price, I do all that for you. So I'm the one putting the companies up together and getting them to the best price for the customer. So I take all those negotiations off the table for you. In addition to that, we help out with the implementation, the deployment, and the integrations. Those are typically the largest amount of time spent for an IT manager. On average, 36 hours for deployment. That's activating the phones, onboarding people, setting up extensions, setting up call trees, so on and so forth. We handle all that for the customer. And then training. Training takes a lot of time and a lot of resources for any company, large or small. So the IT manager has to regurgitate everything that they've learned from the demonstrations with the companies over to the training department. The training department then has to train up all the people that are going to be using the phone systems. We have solutions that do the training for the IT managers and for the training teams. So we take a lot of the scarcest thing that companies have, which is time, and we put it back in their collective bank accounts by us doing all the hard work for them. So a lot of people ask, why migrate to the cloud from a premise-based solution? Well, as the coronavirus has shown, 100% business agility. This gives companies the ability to work in a Starbucks, in the office, at home, at the park, wherever they need to be. It also reduces the initial capital expense that a lot of companies spend on a premise-based phone system. If you have a premise-based phone system, you've got a closet somewhere in your building that's got a bunch of wires, a bunch of machines, and a lot of loud noises. That takes a lot of time and a lot of money to maintain and keep up. With a cloud-based phone system, you literally have no equipment other than the phones that sit on people's desks or the software that people use on their computers or their phones. And then the flexibility for end users. You have some people that want a desk phone. They want to have the taco neck and talk like that. You also have a soft phone application that you can use on the computer. And there's also mobile applications, which is very nice because if your power goes out with a premise-based system, all of your communications are down. If you have a cloud-based phone solution and your power goes out, you close your computer, grab your cell phone, grab your tablet that's got cellular data, and your communications are still up and going. And then for IT and for HR, onboarding employees or offboarding employees is very easy. It takes no more than 5 minutes to onboard a single employee. That's to get them an extension, get them a phone number, activate a phone for them, or if they're getting fired or let go, it takes very little time to disconnect their phone line, to disconnect all their equipment. If you've ever been an employer and had to let someone go, you know the pain it is of trying to get back everything. Whereas with cloud-based solutions, it's software. You can just deactivate the license. What a lot of companies don't think of when it comes to sales reps is protecting your company and your book of business. A sales rep may have fostered a relationship with their book of business, but at the end of the day, that customer belongs to the company, not to the sales rep. And so when you have your employees using their personal cell phones and conducting phone calls and text messages on their personal cell phone, you have zero control over any of that information. Whereas with a cloud-based solution, you control the phone number, you control the ability to text or make phone calls, and if that person ever leaves, you keep that phone number that's tied to that rep. So it's not an end-all be-all, but it adds a layer of security for companies to protect their assets that they've spent money to acquire, whether it be through marketing or sales or anything like that. Now, a lot of people ask, why choose Onetouch Networks? First and foremost, we are consultants. We are salespeople, I'm not going to lie, but first and foremost, we are consultants. We sell stuff, but our job is to find the Goldilocks solution for our customers. It's not too big, it's not too small, it's not too hot, it's not too cold, it's just perfect. And we do that by listening and paying attention and asking the proper discovery questions of our customers. We need to know what their wants are, what their needs are. We need to know what their pain points are. We need to know what their expectations are. And from there, we can typically make 2 to 3 recommendations with reasons why. Someone may have a contact center that they need phones for. We're going to recommend certain companies based on those needs. Other companies may be in the medical field and they need HIPAA certifications, they need security certifications. There's other companies that are industry leaders for that as well. And that leads to the right partners for the right reasons. Because we are a carrier agnostic agency, the best analogy I can give is instead of being a salesperson for Nike and only offering Nike shoes, we're more like a Foot Locker. So we are able to offer the best fit for the customer, not the best item that's particularly on sale for that day locked within a particular brand. We also help out from start to end and beyond. We help the planning, we help the determine what the proper solution is for a company from the beginning. We help them out with their implementations and their deployment. We also have a team that handles professional services. So if phones need to be activated for the customer, if they need help setting up their phone tree and their IVR and their auto attendance, we can help out with that as well. So we aren't just a set it and forget it and go away kind of a company. We want to be there with you today, tomorrow, 6 months down the road, a year down the road, and also be there to help as the industry changes and as the business needs change along the way. Also, we help companies out to pick out the right equipment for each person. Me personally, I'm a Navy veteran. I did man machine guns. I have hearing loss. So I need a headset that's very loud in my ears and also cancels out the noise behind me, because I do have the attention span of a squirrel. If someone is behind me making noise, I will get distracted, I will lose my rhythm, and I become less effective. So we do have a partner out of Sacramento named Headset Advisors. They are amazing. They have the same philosophy that we do as far as helping customers find the proper desktop devices, the proper headsets. It's not just simply using your iPhone earbuds from 2008 and it sounding like you're chewing on the microphone. You can actually have a clear sound voice across the phone to your customers, and you can also hear them as well. So the technology or the software that you're using is just as important as the hardware that you're using to communicate with people. That's the majority of what we do for Onetouch Networks and Unified Communications. This is all my contact info on here. We do offer consulting for free. We get paid by the companies that our customers choose to use. And so by using Onetouch Networks, it costs you $0 to use our expertise. So that's another great benefit to use Onetouch Networks instead of going directly to the vendor. We're here to offer our expertise and knowledge and experience and help you find the best fit for your company.
Awesome. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you, guys.
So that's a lot of stuff. I got a list of questions.
Sure.
We're going to jump off and we'll be right back, and we'll continue this recording with the Q&A, and let's get in some nitty gritty on what's going on. So if you can jump off and jump back on, we'll be right back after this.
Hello.
Now we're back. Hit the mute button. Cannot minimize while in the meeting. Okay, fine. So Justin, I have a few questions. So when did you guys officially start, and how many vendors from when you started to now have you grown by?
Okay, now sorry, I couldn't hear you, Tim.
My question was, so how long ago, when did you guys start? I know you're under 5 years, but when you first started, how many vendors did you have when you first started compared to how many vendors you have now in your offerings to your customers as consultants?
So, I just started a couple years ago. So I know Onetouch was originally founded in 2016 by Francis Lee, and he's got about 30 years in the telecom industry. And it originally started as Francis provided professional services to Ring Central, and he helped out with the implementation and deployment for Ring Central when they didn't have the ability to do the professional services. As for since I've been around, geez, I would say me alone, I would say I've brought on about 60 new companies over the past 2 years, and that ranges from companies that needed 2 phone lines all the way up to county organizations that needed 2,200 phone lines. So it's a huge difference in mix of the companies that we've brought on. Um, right now, we're working with LA County, we're working with LAX to get them all set up. So working on some pretty massive jobs right now, and it's pretty exciting seeing how the companies are moving along and progressing and implementing cloud-based solutions over to their CRM, their ticketing system, how they handle tickets through Jira and Zendesk. It's pretty fun watching how they're gonna implement the cloud-based phone systems into everything that they use.
So the question, so how many different like product lines? So you have new customers, but between when you started and now, like how many different product lines has the company grown by too, not only customers? So you have like 4 or 5 product lines, and now you had a whole list of different vendors you had.
Yeah, when we first started out, the only companies that I partnered with was AT&T and Ring Central, and now, yeah, I mean they took up a huge segment of the business that we did, and now we work with master agencies like Tolaris and TBI, and so now we have access to almost 900 different vendors in the industry. So it's literally, if I can't find a solution for a company, then my suggestion is going to be 2 tin cans and a piece of yarn or smoke signals at that point.
At this point, it doesn't exist. Let's build it.
Yeah.
I have a question. Justin, what are you seeing from your clients as far as their cloud solutions? So versus Google versus Amazon versus Microsoft, what's kind of going on in that landscape and trends that you see?
So obviously the biggest trend is, Zoom. Obviously Zoom was the one that just, as the coronavirus hit, they shot straight out of the gate like they had poured a bottle of nitrous on their business. And so Zoom has been incredibly popular. Microsoft Teams as well has been incredibly popular, but the biggest hurdle with Microsoft Teams is they were going to launch a voice portion of it, but then they put that one on the back burner. And so a lot of companies that invested in Microsoft Teams were left just with a video conferencing solution and no phone solution, no SMS or instant messaging or collaboration kind of a tool. So thankfully in the cloud space, Ring Central and 8x8, they had their engineers work pretty darn fast and get implementations going. So that way Microsoft Teams could be used in conjunction with Ring Central and 8x8 to offer a seamless transition or interaction between the two, and also with their CRM. So if they're using Salesforce or Bullhorn, Close.io, whatever CRM they're using, it made a seamless transaction pretty quick. But another trend I've seen, and I think this year has been very big for unified communications, but I think next year is actually going to be even bigger. because a lot of companies didn't have they may have had a 2-year plan to look at unified communications, but they didn't have a fire drill plan. And so they went with something that would get them by for what they thought would be a 6-month stint of working remotely, instead of something that was going to be 2 or 3 or even a 5-year solution. So I anticipate next year, in the springtime probably, a lot of companies changing from the solution that they have now over to a more permanent solution. And a lot of them just went with the quickest, easiest band-aid that they could find that they could deploy as quickly as possible, which at the end of the day, it wasn't the best fit for them, and they're experiencing a lot of issues in terms of growth and agility in the market. So again, that's a benefit of working with us. We can get you deployed in 72 hours if we need to, but it's a matter of making the right choice from the get-go to set you up for success long-term.
Go ahead, Kent. Eva, I think Kent was up.
Okay, Kent first.
I didn't have much of a comment, so go ahead, Eva.
All right, 2 things, Justin. First, or 3 things. One, first, it's great to see you. We miss you terribly.
Miss you too.
Second, I have a 2-part question, and the topics are not related. One is, I've heard a rumor that Zoom is going to start charging. And then, and I just wanted your take on that. And then secondly, I wanted to ask about security, and specific to, all that data you guys would be managing,
Sure.
and I know that's probably up to your vendors, but I kind of want to understand what your security policy is.
Sure. So our security policy is almost always going to default to the vendor that we are recommending, and that falls back to the discovery portion, the discovery call that we do with customers, and part of the demo, and determining which solution is a good fit for customers. And personally, Eva, I've spoken with you and Tim and Wendy in the office, and I stand by my convictions when it comes to offering a solution, and I will tell people the good, the bad, and the ugly of solutions. And I've had an axe to grind, essentially, with Zoom over the past couple of years, because they've had more than a few security breaches, and nothing was done internally about it until TechCrunch and Boy Genius and the New York Times actually wrote articles on it. And then they had a fix for it within a few days. So when it comes to security, I'll be honest, Zoom is one of the last things that I recommend. And so it's one of those things that free is sometimes not always the best deal. And so if Zoom is free for people, that's all fine and dandy. But I think of myself as a parent, and the fact that my son is in Zoom classes during distance learning, and to imagine that someone might be able to hack into his classroom and take pictures and screenshots of all the kids in the classroom, that's a hard pill for me to swallow as a parent. That's a hard pill for me to swallow as a businessman. And so security is huge. And that's why when we talk to companies, when we're making referrals to a company, part of that referral program is knowing which certificates that they have for security, whether it be PCI compliance and CP&I compliance and HIPAA compliance, and just government, state, and federal regulations for compliances. So like 8x8 is my favorite company when it comes to security. They are the industry leader. They've got more certifications than any other company in unified communications. So if security is a concern, I'm going to recommend 8x8 as a company. I
hadn't
think
heard of
8x8's the best.
so that tells you my ignorance. But I think that's really kind of as I'm teaching my students this week about USP, unique selling proposition. I was just thinking to myself how I don't know that there's enough emphasis on that, and I think that it's going to come back to bite people in the arse. And you know, and I think about that a lot. I got hacked last night. I have no idea by who. And so, you know, it made me think about how the whole CSU system is using Zoom.
Mhm.
And I just think that it exposes us to a lot of liability.
It does. And, you know, I locally here in Chico, I saw on the news night before last, there was an attempted abduction in front of Hobby Lobby.
Yeah.
And we hear it on the news all the time. I mean, I've seen it at least 10 times over the past month here in Chico, people being stalked. Well, what's one of the easiest ways for a human trafficker to essentially find a list of prospects? A classroom full of students. So if they can hack into a classroom, they can take the picture of the student, then they can go on Instagram and search for that student. So I mean, it's a righteous domino effect that could happen, but the security is absolutely the most important. The last thing I would want is if I'm a tech startup and I've got some kind of renowned business idea. Here's a business idea actually that I've joked about with my coworkers, is like an Uber Eats, but for Facebook marketplaces. I'm too lazy to drive across town and go drop off $5 for the item, but I'm willing to pay someone $3 in a travel fee. What if I'm discussing this in a business environment and someone hacks in, steals my idea, trademarks it, and they become the next, you know, Gary Vaynerchuk or Mark Cuban with my idea, but because I didn't have security, it's all in the wind now. So yeah, security is the most important thing that I talk with customers about,
Okay.
is as far as protecting themselves.
I appreciate that. Okay, thank you. And then, have you heard the same rumor about Zoom potentially charging?
I think I told you about
Was that you that
November
told me that, Kent?
November 1st. They're going to
Yeah.
start collecting taxes for California. That's
See, I heard it from some reputable source.
yeah. I saw it. Well, it's in my email.
Okay.
Zoom put it out. So look if you got notice
Like
from
you were
Zoom
asking
about
me
how
if
they're
I'd
going
gotten it. That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that was what, yesterday, the day before. That's
Yeah, yesterday.
brain.
Yeah, so I hadn't heard anything on that, but to be totally honest with you, I personally very rarely use Zoom. I'm either using Ring Central Meetings because they're secure, or I'm using 8x8's video conferencing tool, or I'm using Dialpad or TalkDesk video conferencing tool, because all of them have world-class security backing their video conferencing solutions. So Zoom is actually the most uncommon SaaS platform that I use during the whole
You mentioned
coronavirus.
Microsoft Teams or something like that. I think Tim and the group uses Google for things, right? Google Groups or whatever they call it.
The whole Google Suite platform. So we use Google Meet
Yeah.
for a lot of our items. One, because you can have up to 250 people in a meeting with unlimited recording, but it's a little clunky. It's not as smooth as Zoom and some of the other ones.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a Google fanboy since 2002, I think. You know, and I've been a beta tester for Google everything. I miss Google Wave so much. That was the best collaboration tool they ever had. But while the Google suite of unified communications is very, very cost efficient, I don't think that in terms of ease of use and efficiency, I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze. I don't think it's a fair transaction at the end of the day for the consumer, versus maybe spending an extra $4 a month per user and having a whole suite of services available to someone. So I think what Tim, a starter is $12 per user for like a basic Google Suite business.
I'm not sure, since we're nonprofit, we get it for free.
Oh,
So that's why it's attractive to us. So we get the nonprofit status.
gotcha.
So it also opens up Google Ads for us. So we get $10,000 a month ad grant.
Gotcha. Okay. And that's one.
So
So
what's your juice? What's your juice, Wendy?
Oh, no. So Justin, I miss you terribly. Also, he has the funniest sayings. So the taco neck from earlier, and then you said the juice is worth the squeeze. I don't know. It's just, I'm just posting your little quotes in the chat that I like.
yeah, I after being a so Tim, to your point about free. Here's another one for you, Wendy. One of my grandma was a bartender. She grew up during the Depression, and she always joked that free was her favorite four-letter F word. And so sometimes free actually costs you at the end of the day. And so again, because something is the least expensive option doesn't mean that it's the best option. And so that's where part of my job is understanding wholly the needs of the business and addressing like Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams, as far as a collaboration tool, is relatively inexpensive. I used it when I worked at Build.com, and it was, to me, Microsoft Teams was just as clunky as Google is. Whereas with 8x8 and Ring Central and Dialpad, they've got an internal collaboration system that is incredibly easy to use. I joke that it's sailor proof. If me as a sailor can use it, then anybody can. Whereas Microsoft Teams as a whole, when it was implemented at Build, it probably took us 3-4 weeks to actually learn how to use it properly. And that's a lot of time. That's 450 people not using a collaboration tool for 3 weeks. That's a lot of payroll wasted. So that's my 2 cents on collaboration and getting your dollars worth for what you're buying.
Justin, can you share your personal roadmap and getting to your current job, or what's your story?
Sure. Yeah. You might. What's the motion sickness pill you take? Dramamine. So I think honestly it all started when I was about 10, and I saved up my birthday money, Christmas money, and I got a lawnmower. And I printed out flyers with my mom's help, and I went around mowing lawns for $5 a yard. And so I started that, and I lived in a relatively rural part of Red Bluff, and I had probably 70 ideal customer profiles to pick from. And so I started there, and then I've always been competitive, and I was always one of the top sellers for fundraisers for Little League or soccer or for football. So for me, the concept of going up and knocking on a door and trying to sell something is, I guess, never been strange to me. And then joined the military, served for 4 years, got out, and went straight into a sales job where it was outside sales, selling remanufactured printer cartridges. Did that for a couple years, and then tried car sales for a week and decided I didn't want to sell my soul to the devil, so I stopped that. And then I was in retail for about 2.5 years selling cell phones. So that was my foray into telecommunications. I spent 2 years actually as the executive director for a living facility for the mentally ill up in Reading. That was quite interesting, prepared me for living in Chico really well. And then I did a couple years selling insurance for seniors, and that really helped hone my skills of determining the best solution for customers. And also, as a consultant, sometimes my job is telling someone the products that we have are not a good fit for you. You should not make a change right now. It's not a good time. And I think that too often salespeople are trying to put a square peg into a round hole, and that creates a really bad name for those that enjoy and love sales. And I've loved it ever since. So, spent a little while working for Social High Rise, who was a member of Chicostart. Mark Sorensen had about 1,000,001 nuggets of phenomenal sales knowledge and advice to give to me. And one of the terms that he actually used that I think applied at the beginning of the pandemic was analysis paralysis. I think a lot of companies didn't know what the heck was going on, and so they just stuck their head in the sand and said, hey, we have a phone that rings when people call us, and we have a dial tone when we need to make a call. And so did that, and then went to work for Bill.com for a few years and got my feet wet in the contact center environment and had a lot of fun doing that, learned a lot of things about e-commerce and CRM. And then from there, I was poached by Blake Garcia, who I worked with when I worked for AT&T. And he asked me if I was interested. He told me about what the job was and what the opportunities were. And I said, let's do it. So January 22nd of 2019 is when I started, and I've had a blast ever since then. I've learned so much, and I'm having a lot of fun being in the SaaS industry.
Awesome. So we have 3 minutes. Any last questions? Just want to say thank you so much, Justin.
Thank you, Tim.
Just about the industry and how it's being implemented and how your company is growing, and even your forecast and your visions in the future about what's going to happen. And people, you're right, going past that patch in just reactive mode on getting people online, now looking for solutions. So I really want to wish you the best in being able to handle that wave that's coming, because it's not going to stop. So
Right.
I really look forward to your guys' success, and just you being a salesperson the way you are. I look forward to your customers enjoying your personality in your guys' company. So thank you for sharing that with us. It was great today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure and a privilege.
So I want to thank again everyone who showed up. Please share 1 Million Cups with your friends and family, and any kind of person who has a business idea, especially your crazy cousin Bob, your neighbor Bob. So please bring them along, tell them about this platform, and hopefully they can share their ideas with the community and the world. Thank you to the Kaufman Foundation. Thank you to our sponsors, Chicostart, Bill.com, Butte College, Explore Butte County, and also our organizers. And Kent too is a sponsor. And all the organizers, Chicostart, Butte College, and SCORE. So hopefully we'll see you all back here next week. We have something very special, just kibitz. Just kibitz.
Yeah, I need to have it sound more guttural. Just kibitz, you know. I am not good with the Jewish.
He's a very energetic person, so please tune in next week. It's going to be an awesome presentation. He had to postpone last time, so please tune in next week. And remember, everyone, go out and be awesome today, and we'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Justin.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.
Good job.